Hi everyone, Brian McKim with House America Financial. I wanted to spend a few minutes tonight and talk to you about buyers that are possibly putting 3% down to 5% down and why I still think it's a great time for those buyers with low down payments to seriously consider buying in this environment. There's a lot of uncertainty in this environment, sellers and buyers, and I'm seeing some buyers say that they want to wait, which everyone has to make their own decision. However, for the buyer that's putting 3% down or possibly 5% down, and they're applying for maximum financing loan-to-value mortgage, I think acting now is still potentially a very smart decision. And here's why. Even though we've seen rates rise a bit in the last few weeks, they're still historically very good. If you have a loan amount that is less than $510,000, you can for sure get a rate around 3.5 or 3.625, which historically is fantastic. And furthermore, depending on what happens with the economy and with the housing market, it could potentially become more difficult to get conventional financing with 3% down or 5% down if the market changes and if appraisers start marking the appraisal reports as showing declining market. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. If it is going to happen, no one knows exactly when. However, having been through this before in 2007, 2008, 2009, those maximum loan-to-value loans become more difficult in a changing market. So if there's a buyer out there who's pre-approved and ready to go and finds a house that they love and is going to put down 3% or 5%, rates are still good. Yes, there is some uncertainty, but there is a potential down the road that it could get more difficult for those buyers. Instead of putting 3% down or 5% down, if it is going to be anything like 2008 and 2009 and 2010, they may have to put down a minimum of 10% in some cases. So just wanted to share that with you. Everyone's in a different situation. We're all going through this challenging time in different ways. So certainly everyone has to make their own decisions, certainly no pressure, but something to consider that waiting isn't a guarantee that it's going to be easier down the road. So something to consider. I also wanted to share with you a quick snippet from a mortgage publication kind of talking about the last week or so. And there's 4 bullet points that I wanted to share with you that talks about the last week. And here's what we've seen in the last 7 to 10 days. Some of the biggest lender-to-lender differences in rate sheet offerings we've ever seen. Some of the biggest hour-to-hour changes in interest rates we've ever seen. The very biggest disconnection from lender rate sheet offerings to the bond market we've ever seen. And among the worst instances of high rates or prohibitive pricing on certain loan programs that don't fit the vanilla credit box. So it's been a wild run, a lot of volatility. I'll leave you with this. Some people have been asking me, Brian, where can I go on a daily basis to check rates? How can I get a feel day to day, hour to hour, what rates are doing? A few months ago, I would have confidently said, check the 10-year Treasury bond yields. You can find it online. Typically when yields are rising, rates are rising. When yields are coming down, rates are coming down. That still applies to a degree, but not as much as it applied a few weeks ago or a few months ago. There is somewhat of a disconnect these days. It is hard for the consumer or the realtor to check pricing on an hour-to-hour basis or day-to-day basis. Certainly, if you have any questions, you can call me. You can track the bond yields. It is a decent indicator but in this environment, it's not a perfect correlation. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or send me a text. My number is 818-421-4737. I wish you and your family well. Be safe. Thanks again, and have a good night.